I was strolling around the camp when I suddenly saw my classmates, looking panicked, rushing out of the woods and back into the cabins. Before I could even figure out what was happening, one of them grabbed me and pulled me inside. More and more students poured into the cabin, and a sense of dread began to rise in my chest. But no one knew exactly what was going on, not until the sound of a gunshot rang out. In that instant, everyone fell into despair. It was clear there was a shooting outside. All we could do was huddle together inside, trembling, with no idea what to do next. That's when I remembered. My little sister was still outside. I asked if anyone had seen a girl in a yellow sweater, but with hundreds of students in camp, and different classes not knowing each other, no one could tell me where she was. Meanwhile, the gunshots were growing louder and more frequent. I had no choice but to put my search for my sister on hold. Just then, someone shouted that, "They're coming," and everyone bolted for the door. I rushed out with them. While running for my life, I noticed a girl lying on the ground, injured. I couldn't just leave her there, so I pulled her up and dragged her with me toward the woods. Luckily, we hadn't gone far before I spotted a group of classmates hiding in a concealed spot. I hurried over with the injured girl, and finally, we could catch our breath. But the gunfire never stopped, and now it was coming from every direction. That's when we thought to finally call the police, only to be told that since the camp was in the countryside, it would take at least an hour for them to arrive. Everyone fell into despair again, and I couldn't stop thinking that my sister might have run the opposite way, back toward the campgrounds. I feared she was still hiding in a tent. When I got there, the area was already deserted. I crawled low, using the tents for cover, and around one corner, I ran into a little boy in a yellow shirt. I tried to take him with me, but he wouldn't budge. He said he had promised his older brother to meet him there and couldn't leave. Helpless, I kept moving through the tents, and soon I reached my sister's tent, but she was already gone. I tried calling her again, only to realize she hadn't even brought her phone. That's when I heard footsteps outside. I froze, too scared to move, and only when they faded into the distance did I crawl back out of the tent. With no sign of my sister, I had no choice but to head for the forest. Finding her was all that mattered now. I followed the scattered crowd and eventually reached the shoreline, but by the time I got there, the hillside was already crammed with classmates hiding. I wanted to squeeze in, but the others kept telling me there was no room left. So I had no choice but to keep running along the cliffs by the sea.